money, I've been driving around in my car, looking for some kind of open bar. It's gonna be alright, gonna be alright. Got no money, but I'll work it out with my charm. Having a good time, ain't doing no harm. It's gonna be alright.
Hello and welcome to the Nerd in Motion. Something pretty interesting that's just happened in the last few hours. It's just a news story, but you know how much I love ULEZ and how much I think it's bang out of order. I thought there's two very interesting stories that the Mail have just released in the last couple of hours. And I thought we'd just quickly cover some of it. So this is the chap. He's got, basically, the long and short of it is he's got a Porsche Boxster. It looks like a 2002 one. It's a petrol, and he's getting fined all the time. And down here, right, this is. I'll just read what it says. In cases where the computer is wrong, the unfortunate car owners are sent a grainy photograph of their number plate and an unflattering image of their pride and joy. In my case, a 2002 Porsche Boxster with quite glorious 2.7 litre flat six boxer engine producing 220 brake, which I picked up before Christmas for less than £5,000. Over the festive season, while others were sharing tidings of goodwill to all, TfL's were busy sending me demands for 90 quid or 180 if the fine was not paid within 14 days. Flipping out, that's outrageous. City Hall would argue that the easiest way of avoiding the fine would be to pay £12.50 a day every time I wish to use my car, but this is grossly unfair as my car is ULEZ compliant. The menacing letter warns the failure to pay will lead to further action with rapidly escalating and botanical range. That's a big word for a Saturday afternoon. Of fines to test the resolve of motorists who have not done anything wrong. Let's just have a look. Yeah, it says here, because of the car is on a 2002 plate, TfL automatically says it's not up to the applicable ULEZ standard. However, Porsche engineers, when designing the car in the early 1990s, far exceeded the planned restrictions for future-proofing the vehicles. Standing up against the computer says no attitude could be potentially ruinous. It is a multi-million-pound racket, and a racket it is. Luckily, there is a way to fight back against the City Hall and the machine that says no. In my case, it is to ask Porsche UK to contact their head office in Stuttgart to find the EWG. I don't think I should pronounce that, but I think I'm going to have a solid go. Urbanminstenbeichen Flugtig Vervolstung dich Fahrzeug for my car. Whew, that's the car's certificate of conformity, which shows which agreed set of standards it reaches. On page 3 of the document, Porsche have listed the emissions data, including the crucial NOx reading. So this is, in a previous video, I talked about NOx and what NOx is, and you don't really get much of it in a petrol engine, to be totally honest. It's very, very minimal in a petrol engine compared to that of a diesel. But really, NOx being the big thing, there's also the particulate matter to take into account, and you virtually get no particulate matter out of petrol engines, but you get absolutely loads of it out of a diesel, especially a diesel that's had its DPF removed. On page 3 of the document, Porsche have listed the emissions data, including the crucial NOx reading. This is just below the section marked, or not again, Hochgeschwindigkeit. For those who are interested, it's 250 kilometers an hour. According to TfL's own information, the standard for compliance with ULEZ for M1 passenger cars is 0.0 grams per kilometre of NOx. This applies to both petrol and diesel engines and is the equivalent to a Euro 4 standard for the petrol cars and Euro 6 standard for the diesel cars. Owners must prove their car compliance, must contact the manufacturer to supply the vehicle's certificate of compliance. And here you can see that just here, the NOx produced is 0.055. Now, the other thing to remember about these modern these vehicles that were produced to be kind of future-proof, is that it's all in metric and it's all very accurate. So, and with petrol, it's not like diesel where they kind of had to fudge it. Nobody was even looking at NOx levels then particularly. So they could just make it as it should be. What I'm saying is it's not fudging the figures like they did on a diesel. Yet the figure shown on my own clearly shows the NOx reading is 0.055, which is even within the 0.06 standards for a Euro 6 petrol car. It wasn't supposed to be this way when the public were first sold the idea of clean air zone. The world's first ultra-low emission zone is an essential measure to help improve air quality in our city, protect health of Londoners and lengthen our lead as the greatest city on earth, announced the Mayor of London with great fanfare. Together we can ensure everyone who lives, works and visits our city has the cleanest possible air to breathe. Have you ever been on the Underground? It's the dirtiest, stinkiest place you could ever be. I'm not going to read any more of this because it's just, when it talks about politicians, my blood kind of starts to boil and I want to take a big stick and start bashing people. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to wander down here and basically, this is how much money TfL agreed to pay Capita. So Capita, I believe there's the main bits in Leeds, but I might be wrong. But 213 million until the end of the contract in September 2026. Wow. They were tasked with enforcement operations, including IT and other services. Wowza, wowza, wowza. That's outrageous. They're also the same people that do the TV licensing, and they're very honest, aren't they? Let's face it. You know, these TV license people where you... Oh, let me think about the people that worked at the BBC who are... No, let's not talk about that. You know what I mean. So it goes on about how much Mr. Khan's wasting on ULEZ, and they've rejected... here we go. They sent the rejection letter on January the 5th and used Royal Mail to send the notice from their office in Darlington. That letter arrived in London on the 12th of January. The Royal Mail was this week fined 5.6 million for failing to hit delivery targets for its first and second class posts. Now that is, I'm surprised because they're another very honest organisation. Blah blah blah. So, although we have acknowledged the point raised in your representation, in this instant we have decided not to exercise our discretion as we do not consider the mitigation factors present to have given reason to cancel the PCN. Obviously, I would have sent my V5 certificate to support my appeal had it not been stuck somewhere on the M4 en route from the DVLA's headquarters and Swansea, and my house in northwest London, again courtesy of the Royal Mail. No digital superhighway for the transportation of bits of dead tree. It's true. So because computer says no, I have to take the case to London Tribunal's road user charging adjudicators. Now, these adjudicators, when you look at them, quite a lot of the time, they're paid for by the people like TfL. I'm not saying that is the case, because I haven't looked it up, but quite possibly these adjudicators are quite biased. Yeah, it is input here. An independent and legally qualified body, rather than a private company seeking to defend a multi-million-pound contract. I think I'm with you on that one. Unfortunately, my situation is far from unique. In response to freedom of information requests in September 23, TfL outlines in extensive detail the emissions limits associated with ULEZ. In the response, they claim that the TfL vehicle checker is the most accurate tool in London, and it is based on a range of data, not just from the DVLA, but also information from the Vehicle Certificate Agency and the vehicle's manufacturers. Did you see all the roads where it was like 3 or 4 lanes where they were measuring for pollution prior to ULEZ, where they blocked off down to 1 lane or 2 from 4, just so it would back the traffic up, so that they'd have more pollution on their figures. So they're obviously to be trusted. Unbelievable. It just makes me so angry. If there was a genuine issue for emissions in like the high street where cars are just backed up and it's just stood still, then fair enough. But it's not like that, especially not on the wider area. It's all to do with making money. That's it. In Scotland, they did it, and it's shown that it's made no difference to the emissions in the area at all. So it's a joke. So Porsche UK said they have a clear policy to assist owners facing ULEZ fine. It asks owners to provide a photo ID in the car's V5, and they can contact Porsche Germany, who will supply the original certificate of conformity, which can be used for an appeal. They advise the process can take up to 28 days. A Porsche insider told Mail Online the COC will be in German, but this is familiar situation, and should a COC not be available for any reason, a technical data sheet will be provided. The document is also accepted by TfL. All Porsche cars are supplied since 1997, blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, my situation is far from unique. There have been many examples of ULEZ camera system failing and causing unnecessary stress and inconvenience to motorists. In some locations, thousands of motorists have been fined incorrectly because the cameras were pointing the wrong direction out of the zone. In others, the cameras misread a number plate, charging or fining an innocent motorist. In this case, those who have an automatic payment, they may not notice the cash leaving their accounts. Flipping out, man. It's such a cash grab, it's unbelievable. Between October and December, the BMW owner paid. Do you know what? I wouldn't mind if the money was used to help stop the crime and the stabbings and the fact that people are having their watches stolen and their jackets, like the Canadian Goose jackets, his chavs are stealing them. I wouldn't mind if they used the money for to get more police on the ground to stop that kind of stuff. Where's all this money going, Mr. Khan? What are you doing with it? You managed to have this wonderful fireworks ceremony about yourself while some young kid got stabbed. And when you were challenged about it, you didn't have the balls to actually talk about it. Anyway, I'm getting riled. Got my irritant t-shirt on today for the very reason. It goes on about all sorts of stuff, but basically, the long and short of it is there's a load of holes in TfL's system, and people out there, you're probably getting charged when your car is okay, especially if you've got a petrol. Contact your manufacturers, regardless if it's Porsche, because I'm sure there's other manufacturers, especially Japanese cars. They're very clean. Just go find out what that certificate of conformity said, because they're just scamming people. And then this lovely bit arrived today as well. Sadiq Khan's TfL tried to fleece drivers out of £23.1 million by strongly saying they weren't allowed into ULEZ zones without paying £12.50 a day. This is written by another guy, but also with Darren as well. Sadiq Khan's Transport for London tried to fleece drivers out of a massive £23 million through fines which wrongly said their cars were not ULEZ compliant. So basically, it's exactly the same document as this one, but less in a sort of personal way. So it's the same thing here. Look at him, eh? Don't you want to just give him a big old hug? I mean, yeah, this is all his plans. It's the same document. TfL said, here we go. Let me just read this bit. Londoners deserve so much better than a mayor who only cares about himself. Well, he's proven he's a bit of an arc. As a mayor, I will end Sadiq Khan's war on motorists and scrap his unfair ULEZ expansion one day. So that's Susan Hall, who's a Tory like she's running for mayor, basically. So, but we'll see. They always say this stuff, and then how many times has a politician told you that they're going to do something before they get, in power, and then when they get in power, they get amnesia and seem to forget what they said. But yeah, I think if people knew that they were going to scrap this stupid scheme, then I think she might very well get voted in. I mean, it's such a mess now. I just don't understand why people keep voting for Khan over and over again. I think I know, but I just think that you've just got to realise that London's turning into the Wild West again. So this is also about the cars, and basically that, they're a mess with not correct NOx limits. Just going back here, there is an email at the top I noticed. Right here. darren.boyle@mailonline.co.uk. Go and email this guy if you've appealed a ULEZ PCN and won. I think they want to know why and how you did it. So anyway, that's enough of me waffling on. Thank you for watching, and like I say, check out the Discord. The link is in the description below. If you've got anything to say about this, please put it in the comments below. And let's hope for once we can get rid of this flipping draconian nonsense. Yes, we need cleaner cars, but this is just a cash grab, and it's clearly affecting people that don't have lots of money. You want them all to have these beautiful electric cars that are so clean and wonderful for the environment, yet you take the money off them that they need to buy that car with, because obviously they've got to go to work, they've got to go take their kids. What about if they're disabled? They might have a disabled child that they have to take to a special school or something, like they have a daycare, or you've got granny down the road who's not well and she needs to be checked up on twice a day. All that kind of stuff, and our man Khan's just lining his pockets. So I bet at some point, if somebody looks into it, some money's going walkabout somewhere. So anyway, I'll say nothing more. Have a great time. I hope you have a good what's left of the weekend, and I'll see you on the other side.